to a seamless home buying experience.
Igniting the airwaves, Spark FM.
Hey! I'm on 1,000 a day. Don't ask me why, because I don't know. I'm just on 1,000 a day. Yo, can I tell you the most exciting thing? First and foremost, hey, I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. I'm on 1,000 today because, yo, I am losing friends. I'm losing family. I'm losing, but I am winning. Yeah. Oh, that's it. What was this last situation? This last full moon, new moon, the Lion's Gate. That's what it was. Lion's Gate. When I tell you this entire, like, for anybody who knows anything about Moldavite, I lost my Moldavite probably like 2 months ago, but I done found everything that I was supposed to lose in the Moldavite. Listen. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Some of the things that you say that you want ain't really what you ready for. And some of the things that you ain't ready for is what you finna get. And so I am extremely excited about the changes of all types of situations that is happening in my life. And so they're very uncomfortable. Like, it's so, change is one of the most uncomfortable things ever. But I am fully embracing it. I'm falling in love with discomfort. And so, hey Eve, what's going on? So first and foremost, good rising. I hope everyone is doing well today. We have an amazing conversation. We're going to be talking about sex, but sex energetically, like energetic sex, instead of like boom, 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 buddy, buddy, buddy. We're going to be talking about like the transfer of energy that happens during sex. But before we get there, let's go ahead and get through this news you should know, since we only got about 15 minutes. Really quickly, first and foremost, boxer Oscar De La Hoya says that he was raped by a woman in her late 30s when he was only 13 years old and used fighting to deal with his trauma. He's 48 years old and is talking about what happened when he was 13. He said on Monday that he was raped as a child. He explained that the woman was aged over 35 and had sexually assaulted him in Hawaii. He said that he was wrestling with his demons for decades. He has famously struggled with substance abuse, infidelity, and family trauma. He was coming out of retirement, and he said he's no longer afraid of what people think or how they're going to react or what they're going to say about him. And so he's like, listen, this is me in all of my truth. And so thank you for sharing. And if we're going to have a real conversation, how many men lost their virginity at a very young age to a woman who was older than them? Yeah, we don't ever want to, oh, man up. That's, you was getting some, like, we try and make it this masculine. And I'm so glad that we're having divine masculine energy come in today. And so just really having a real conversation about how many of our men were sexually assaulted as young boys and have never sought out the mental health professionals that they should have or should have had access to. In other news, Epstein's victims petitioned the Supreme Court to review prosecutor's sweetheart deal with the sex offender, saying it violated her rights. So Courtney Wild is one of the more than 30 women accused Epstein of sexual assault. He died by suicide, but we know damn well they killed him because every politician that's somebody with a little bit of money was on the Jeffrey Epstein Island. And if that man, if he would have sang, everybody would have sunk. And so they killed him so he couldn't talk. And I'm surprised Giselle's still alive, but she seemed like a real one. I feel like Jeffrey would have sang. Giselle, her ass ain't saying a damn thing. And so Wild has been since 2008 fighting to discredit the actions of the Miami prosecutors. The federal officials reached an agreement with Epstein on a highly favorable term. Wild is now asking the Supreme Court to rule that the deal violated her rights She and other accusers were never told about the sweetheart deal that he had for him. And if you watch the documentary, not only did he have like an entire sweetheart deal, but there were people in the Miami Police Department that he was paying off. There were individuals on a federal level that he was paying off. And so when you got long money, you know, money talks. Everything, truth, it ain't nothing. In other words, drivers in 8 states will be able to add their license to the Apple Wallet on their iPhone and watch. And so soon, Apple will release a new feature to add the driver's license and state IDs to Apple Wallet and Apple Watch in 8 states after a software update coming this fall. Arizona, Connecticut, Georgia, Ohio, Kentucky, and Maryland, as well as Oklahoma and Utah will be the first states to test the feature. Similar to the way Apple Pay works, users will have to upload a picture of their driver's license and or ID on their phones or Apple Watch. They will have to upload a photo of themselves and complete a series of facial and head movements for security purposes. TSA will be the first federal agency to test out the new feature at the airport security checkpoint, but it's unclear as to how law enforcement will adapt this feature. Data protection is also unclear, although Apple is adamant that customers' information will be encrypted and protected against tampering and theft. In other news, essentially a century-old menace, images from 1916 show the first power scooters in action as some of the suffragettes rode them around London, and gangs of New York used them to carry out crimes. When I tell you these scooters that you see people, motorized scooters that people are using today, this is exactly like it looks damn near the same. And so it makes me think like how, mind you, this is from 1916, so over 100 years old. They look exactly like, there's nothing different about these particular scooters and the scooters that you see all over the city. And so there is a newspaper article from 1916 warning of the potential dangers of the new scooter craze, with one subheading reading saying, "Solo devil wagon taken up in a serious way may add new terrors to city life." And so they were playing around with it and added these scooterized wheels to baby carriages and like kids and women holding packages falling over because somebody scooted past her quickly. And what's funny is 100 years ago, this was an idea. 100 years ago, this was a thought. 100 years ago, this was into fruition. And 100 years later, is it just now normal? I also would like to take you back to 1964, when Ford created 100% hemp vehicle that was quote unquote indestructible, because hemp is one of the strongest fibers in the world. And so it was dubbed the indestructible vehicle, and they basically took it off the market because if it's indestructible, there's no use for other vehicles. And to put it to take it even a step further, he was trying to have like a zero waste type situation, so they were trying to make it electric. Bring the shit back, Ford. Bring it back. I ain't never bought a Ford in my life, but I will if y'all make a hemp vehicle. Or where's these Black-owned business owners that create vehicles? I would love to see that. Please take it and then take all of my money. So Biden welcomes Ukrainian president for the first foreign leader since Afghanistan debacle and reaffirms the U.S. commitment in the face of Russian aggression, but refuses to answer any questions. We are currently not in a war. We are currently not in a war. We currently are not at war with anybody, but please believe that we're looking to spend another $1 trillion, so we'll be looking for a fight soon. And so hopefully Biden can sit his ass down and shut the hell up, and we won't be in another war anytime soon. Bankruptcy judge approves, yes, God, Purdue settlement, which will see Sackler family pay out billions to victims of the opioid crisis. So a bankruptcy judge, Robert Drain, said that he would approve a plan with small changes. Drain said it was clear the wrongful marketing of the company's opioid products contributed to the country's addiction crisis. The plan, which Purdue values as more than $10 billion, dissolves the drug makers and shifts assets into a new company not controlled by Sackler's family members. It also includes legal releases shielding Sackler family members from future opioid litigation, a very controversial provision that some states oppose to. And so some of these family members that have lost loved ones to the opioid crisis, whether they're still living or whether they're still battling, you can now present your lawsuit. And I can imagine it's going to be a class action lawsuit coming. Really quickly, other news. The Vatican exonerates. Oh, this effing annoys me. So the Vatican has, like, nobody controls the Vatican but the Vatican. Nobody has any type of say over the Vatican but the Vatican. And so this is, oh, poor connection. This is super annoying because the Vatican exonerated a Brooklyn bishop over alleged sexual abuse of 2 boys in the 1970s, which, according to legal law, sexual misconducts don't have not limitations. Mike, what's it called when you statutory, like a time setting? Like, for instance, if I rob a bank and, well, that's a federal, so it might not have a time frame either. Long story short, there's some crimes that you commit 20 years down the line, you don't have to stand before trial because it happened so long ago. Like, there's a gap in time and we can't prosecute you for a crime that happened 20 years ago. But with sexual assault, it is one of those crimes that regardless of the length of time in which it happened, it can be prosecuted. But because the Vatican controls the Vatican exonerated Brooklyn bishop, but accusers say they will continue to pursue lawsuits. Sexual abuse allegations against Bishop Nicholas D. Marzio have no semblance of truth, said the Vatican. 2 years ago, 2 men, ain't no grown man coming out and saying somebody stuck something in my booty willingly. Like, no one willingly wants to say that out loud, let alone have to go through court after court after court of trying to sue and get some justice. And for the Vatican to come out, statute of limitations. Thank you, Mike. Nice. I knew you were going to come through with the with what I needed. And so the Boston-based watchdog for abuse within Catholic churches said that the investigation should be led by officials in New York, in New Jersey, and not in Rome fast. It said that the Vatican's actions were not a surprise and urged New York Attorney General Loretta James, my boo. Loretta is out here kicking ass and taking names, baby. They're asking her to conduct their own investigation and tell the Vatican to go kick rocks. And so I really want to see how this plays out. And shout out to the Boston-based watchdog, which is holding them accountable for their actions. Migrant families' death march through the desert. An 11-year-old girl carries her 3-year-old migrant brother on her shoulders before she and her mother collapse and die, leaving Border Patrol to rescue the boy. Claudia Marcela Pena, 37 years old, snapped daughter Maria Jose Sanchez, and who is 11, carrying her brother, Christian David, 3, on her shoulders through Arizona deserts. Hours later, the mother and her daughter both had died of heat stroke. Christian was found screaming next to their bodies. I do not and cannot imagine what conditions I had to live in to even think about walking through Arizona's desert. Like, and mind you, they were from, Guatemala? So she wasn't even from Mexico. She traveled in order to bring her family in hopes of a better life. And so I know there are so many of us that are like, tell those immigrants to go back to their country. They're stealing our jobs. They're looking for refuge and they're looking for peace. And that's it. Like, as a human, I think as my humanity, I see this differently. As a parent, I see this differently. When you know for a fact you're trying to give your kids a better life, Damn. Developers of the ivermectin begin late-stage trials of experimental pills in hopes to prevent COVID-19 infections. Yet, if we take this back 2 weeks, when everybody was like, yo, stop taking horse medications. Y'all look real dumb out here. And now all of a sudden, there is a miracle drug. And so what's hilarious is, do you remember when they started coming for Trump and they were like, yo, Trump is crazy. He's over here talking about chlorophyll, looking at the sun, injecting things into your veins. And yet, if you look all over TikTok, Instagram, and all other social medias, thousands of people are posting how they are purchasing chlorophyll, how it is a natural deodorant, how it boosts your antibodies and keeps your immune system up. And I'm just saying, the cart before the horse, the cart before the horse. And the crazy thing about it is, for months now, Fox News has been promoting this horse drug, a horse antibiotic, in order for people to protect themselves from COVID-19. And so I just want to throw that out there. A California girl, 40 years old, discovers multiple colonies of tiny stingless bees, which scientists thought had died out over 70 years ago. And so shout out to the little 4-year-old, because she is famous and don't even know it yet. The discovery of 2 stingless bee colonies thought to have disappeared in the U.S. 70 years ago. Anika Arnott found them in an undisclosed location, which she calls her special place. And if you let me conspiracize this situation, I absolutely guarantee you that she sees ghosts. I absolutely guarantee you she has a connection with the other side. And the reason why I say that is because, for A, for it to be her special place, and B, for her to find something that scientists thought died out 70 years ago, she is absolutely interconnected with all realms. And I am not surprised at 4 years old if she starts telling people about their future. I'm just saying, there's over 300 stingless bee species in Brazil, and they are smaller than honeybees. The bees were brought to the U.S. in the 1950s to boost fruit and vegetable crops, and we might need to boost them some more, because the truth of the matter is, we have our bees are dying, and if we don't have pollinators, we gonna die too. And so a lot of people are saying that it's all of Monsanto's fault, because the chemical, aka Agent Orange, which is also known as Roundup Ready Up, destroys crops. And that's how we were able to win the battle in Vietnam, because we destroyed all of their greenery. And we still, for those who do not know, we still pay billions of dollars a year to Vietnam for the harm that we caused. And generationally, those great grandparents that were directly affected by Agent Orange, it passed down DNA wise to grandchildren and great grandchildren. And I say that because Agent Orange has now been transformed into Roundup Ready Up, which our FDA government and our USDA now allow for agricultural. So everything that you're eating, just take just history and science. If Agent Orange is affecting individuals from 3 generations ago because it's in their DNA, what on earth do you think it's doing to your DNA when you eat it? Food for thought, literally. And so we're going to take a quick break, pay these bills. When we come back, we're going to talk about this spiritual divine healing, this masculine energy, and sex on an energy level. And so I am Tayla Andre. Waking Up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness.
Also follow Java with Jimmy on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
857-5.
Without feeling vulnerable or exploited. Tayla made real estate easy. It's not just a catchy hashtag. It is real estate agent and radio personality with Tayla Andre's goal. A goal to simplify one of the most challenging processes you will go through as an adult. A goal to educate you properly on credit and teach you the strategies for finding a home retreat. It is not just a good book or an easy read. It is the secret to a seamless home buying experience.
I just put it in the chat. I am Taylor Andre, waking up with Taylor Andre. We got Shamari on the line. Give us a call, Shamari, 857. I put it in the private chat. If you look over to the right-hand side. You see the right-hand side, the 857-345-9343. If you call that number, we can get you your audio set up. There we go. There we go. Hey, put it on speakerphone and mute your computer. There we go. As soon as you mute your computer, there we go. Perfect. Perfect. Good rising, good rising. How you doing? Yes, yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, and right before you came on, I was talking about how my own life is making major changes with so many like friends that I've been friends with for effing 30 years that I'm no longer friends with, and I thought it would be a problem. I thought my heart would be broken, but I'm cool.
This is what we go through. We're not used to that change. If we don't get used to it, it's going to be a tough life on Earth, because that's what it's all about, evolving. So.
Okay, so you are the divine masculine. Please talk to us about what that means to you and break it down. What is divine? What is masculine? And I just posted yesterday something that you posted about when you are in tune with feminine energy, you kind of shed a little bit of the fears and the insecurities, and you're able to freely explore your sexuality. So introduce yourself, the divine masculine, and then help us understand a little bit about sexual energy.
Yeah, so I mean, the divine masculine is just, I mean, it's a title for everyone just to understand that being a part of the material realm is just, letting people understand that the divine masculine is all about change, it's all about growth, it's all about getting a message out there to help other people grow and understand the fears that we have on this planet. And it's also connecting with the feminine within and understanding how to do that and spreading that message. And this has been a message that's been spread for a very long time, for ages. And, we're just here to connect with that energy, learn all over again what they did, and put it back out there for everyone else to hear it. But connecting with the feminine is the internal realm. So it's the energy that we come from, before we even get to Earth. And so what you're learning is the fundamentals that is connected to the feminine energy, which is freedom, which is sexuality, creativity. And the masculine is there is just to protect that energy, and find the fundamentals to help her express herself in a physical manner, So that's basically what it is going back and learning all those fundamentals, going back and doing your research, making sure everything is backed up. You got research behind it, you got history behind it, and then, it's about going out there and presenting that physical message to the world, and that's pretty much what I do is about bringing spirituality back into the relationship. I feel like, this is just not there, and it's a huge separation between men and women, but we're really not that different. But this is what the agenda wants us to believe, that we're so different, and but that's not the case at all. And when it comes to sexuality, bringing those two powers together, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, it's a lot of healing energy there that a lot of people don't know about. And I've come up with different modalities to help heal the relationship, the things that we may be holding on to as individuals that, could be dark and holding us back when it comes to fear in our relationships, when it comes to different insecurities. I figured out that sex is a huge thing to heal those wounds in the body. And especially if the masculine has the right intention, he can really help the feminine release those things. And she can come into her own and really guide the household in a spiritual manner, because that's where she belongs. And she can be in her being, total being, and accept that being. But as a divine masculine, you just have to have this knowledge, You have to have this knowledge and understand, like, where you come from, and who you are, and understand these energies that are very powerful, and having the right intentions when you're going into these relationships, when you're going into, a sexual arrangement with the divine feminine, that it should always have a purpose. Should always have a purpose.
So I assume you are against one-night stands.
It depends on the intention. It really does. What I'm saying with sex is the intention of what we bring into it, the energy that we bring into it, can be transferred, and it can be transferred to the woman, especially, into the womb. And a lot of these things get trapped.
Stored.
And she has a hard time letting them go because she doesn't even know they're there. So if the man is coming in there with anger and fear, and he's just using her as a masturbating tool of some sort, just to get off, that intention is what we don't want. So it depends on the individuals, like where they are on their journey, what level are they are, do they feel a spiritual connection there? Because I've known some spiritual people that have one-night stands that just felt a soul connection, and that was it. And it was a one-night thing, and that was it. It wasn't a relationship or anything like that. But so I really believe it's the intention, and that the feminine within us doesn't have all these rules and regulations. These are all connected to the flesh body. These are all connected to the 3D energy. It's not a higher energy where we come from. So it just depends on that soul level where you're at.
Can someone, let's say for instance, someone is not in tune, like I'm not spiritual, I'm a Christian and I love God and all these chakras, that's blasphemous, all of this, all of the things that you have probably heard. Can someone still engage in spiritual sexuality if they don't acknowledge or prescribe to a spiritual journey?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, as long as you know the knowledge of the fundamentals, how to bring it in the relationship, and where you're trying to achieve, you can believe in anything that you want. It's a choice. For me, it's more about what I feel from the divine, and that's the energy I get. Like I honestly feel this on a physical level, and I have done my research of why this is, and it's very, very similar stories things I went through myself on a personal level that I've seen actual teachers go through, especially the masculines going through, you know, and the initiation process on this planet. I mean, just to learn, you know, different things that we go through as far as escapism and different things like that, discipline, all these things. So if you have the fundamentals connected to whatever you're doing, and it feels right to the soul, you know, I feel it's okay. So no matter what religion that, you know, it is or you believe in.
So what exactly are the fundamentals? What do people need to know in order to connect with their divine masculine or their divine feminine? And how would one who may be already on that journey, like how do you pursue it?
Well, for me, I had to get away from the limitations that we are limited in terms of, and that's, you know, that's probably more of an issue than anything. Certain people believe things are outside of your body, like, you know, God and different things like that. But all these things are part of the soul. So the fundamentals is just knowing that you can gather this energy, you can feel this energy inside of your body. And a lot of it is connected to your imagination, which is the mother. You know, the imagination is very powerful. But once you get rid of these fears, and these limitations, and these anger, and this anger connected to the body, and you start going within, dealing with the shadow of yourself, you know, what the ego has created, then you have so much power behind that dark stuff. You have so much power behind the things that you have been through in your past. So that's what I had to do. I had to like go within and go back and deal with child stuff, pain, stuff with my parents, all these things, to release these limitations that were stuck in the body. So that's the first thing you want to do is just make sure your emotional, spiritual health is on point. You can go to a teacher, you can do what you need to do to release these things. I did it with Ayahuasca ceremony.
What state are you in?
California.
We will be there soon. I have been looking, so I didn't think I could do it in the United States, but if this is, I am looking at flights right now.
Yeah, I did it. I worked with a shaman, had 30 years experience, and that was my first awakening period right there. And that's when I went through what they call the dark night of the soul, where you're dealing with everything from childhood all the way up to your awakening. And it's painful and it's dark. And it's a lot of things that you deal with, but you have to go through these initiations to let these things go before you can even feel someone else. You have to feel yourself and love yourself. You know what I'm saying? So once you get to a certain level where you're feeling this energy, you can use that imagination, which is the mother, and you can help other people. This is what I do in my healing services. And you can also do it in your relationships, you know, and you become like a bridge for the divine, a bridge for source. And the energy comes through and it helps that connection, it helps that grow, you know, the spiritual connection grow and expand each time you go in there with, you know, with sex, and you have a purpose, you know, you have a purpose every time and a game plan of what you want to achieve and what you want to create.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, how do you, for those who do know, and for those who do not, can you please explain what using sexual orgasm as manifestation tools, how does one engage in that? And how does someone who is not fully awake begin that journey to utilize sex as a manifestation tool?
Yeah, so first, you want to take care of all the things that are holding you back first. That's the first thing. So you're not projecting that energy in your relationship or, you know, the partner that you're with. Secondly, when you're going in with intention and you're using this intention with basically I learned that if I can call in love, forgiveness, and all these things, I can send it through my body, through the divine feminine, or the feminine that I'm with. And I can clear out the wounds. And it's just I simply use a prayer called Ho'oponopono, which everyone can find on YouTube. And it's a clearing practice. It's a prayer. It's a divine prayer that the Hawaiians have been using for a very long time, but it actually clears all energy. So what I do is I go in, when I'm inside the feminine, I'm using this prayer to clear out anything that is holding her back. And then once I get these things cleared out, using this prayer, using this mantra in my head, and it allows me, believe it or not, it allows me to be in the present. And it intensifies everything in her body and in mine. It clears everything out. And then we have an intention to create whatever we want, because everything else is out of the way. All the fears, all the anger, all these things that are holding us back, this feels eliminated. So all these things are helping us create, like getting out of the way to add that divine inspiration inside the body. You know? So that's basically that. You're calling love. You're using love to heal these things inside of each other.
Mm-hmm. For those who don't know what he's talking about, it's HO'Oponopono.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
Yeah, very powerful prayer that I use
I love
in
you.
my sexual practices and also my divine healing in my own business. So it just clears out all those things. It gives you that divine inspiration. Once you clear those things out, you can add this new energy in and create what you want to create. You know, manifest what you want to manifest. It's all about doing what you want to do.
So I do like 5:28 at night when I go to bed, and so I will try this one this evening. I feel like I may be cleansed already because that was the journey of 2021. And so I want to say the key word here has been intention. Like regardless of practice, regardless of beliefs, the key word here is intention, and being intentional with your partner or who you choose to partner with on this day. And so it's interesting because, you know, the fatherly part is just like, what is your intentions with my daughter? And a lot of the times we as women do not seek out, like, what is your intention for me? With so many men not having the divine masculine, because most of them were raised by women and don't even know what divine masculine looks like. How would a man begin that journey for himself when he never had a divine masculine show him the way?
Believe it or not, it's a calling that starts at childhood. You just know something is different, something is going on with you, and you just want to know the truth. And it's a lot like that movie, The Matrix, when Neo just knew something was up. I was just watching the movie last night. Neo just knew something was bigger out there, and he just wanted to know the truth. And this guides you through life, through all your trials and tribulations and all the relationships that you go through, and it guides you to that point to make a choice. Do you want to take the red pill or the blue pill? And you will meet this influential person, which I did was a shaman, very powerful shaman, was a man. And he told me and my partner at the time, which was my first spiritual connection, that you guys need to go and check out this guy that is a different shaman, had 30 years of experience, worked with the Rothschilds and different people like this, some famous people there. And he's like, you guys need to see this person downtown LA. And this will guide you in the direction that you need to to be guided in it, right? So that's what happened to me. I went there, I connected with the mother, I got different things about my childhood, different things that I needed to let go. And that started it all. And the next month, I went into dark night of the soul, went into huge depression, because all this stuff was coming up, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And I finally had to get on my knees and ask the divine just to help me with this whole energy, because I don't want to take the wheel anymore, pretty much. You know, I need you to take the wheel, because it was driving me nuts, right? And once that happened, I was at the gym, believe it or not, at the gym, got on my knees, asked for this help, and I got the help that I received, and all this weight lifted off. And that's when my journey began there. And I just started getting different synchronicities and answers, and watching different teachers, and just learning. I'm just asking the divine to show me exactly what I need to learn to free myself, to help other people. That's all. That was my intention right there. And 7 years later, here I am doing different things and helping different couples, and mostly with the feminine too, to relearn who she is and reconnect to that side of herself that has been suppressed by this whole agenda here in the matrix. You know, because that energy is very powerful, and that energy is what gets us back home. It's freedom. You know, that heaven on earth is connected to the feminine energy. And we need more masculines to step up to protect that energy. You know, but the only way they can do that is learn who they are first, and tap into that king energy.
So on your website, you have counseling sessions, and with help from your divine guides, you have a 60-minute session that will talk through challenges that individuals may be holding on to, that are holding them back, and what to do to create more balance on their journey. What does that look like with you? Like, from past experiences, what does it look like for someone to call you, and what are some of the challenges that keep coming up, client after client after client, that you see like collectively we need to work on?
A lot of it is just a blockage of self and shame and guilt around sexuality. And it's like, that's basically what it is. It's because the shame part, shaming us to do or go in a certain direction that we don't want to go in, is the opposite of self-love, right? So this is what we want to connect to, back to. This is what I see a disconnection from that, from self-love. And it kind of just like goes into our relationships, our work, our money, our abundance. It affects all those things. And a lot of times people just feel disconnected from the soul, you know, and it's a lot of ego stuff going on in the mind that's, you know, disconnected them from being their true authentic self. So what I feel most of the time in my session is just a reconnection to self-love is not there, and they're trying to get back to that place, you know, of accepting self.
How long does it take an individual typically? So I know everyone is different. Everyone's journey is different. You can't say 2 weeks and that's what it is for everyone. But on a typical basis, how long does it take for someone to heal? And can someone heal without ayahuasca? So you took your journey and did your awakening through ayahuasca. What if like someone's like, I can't do that, but I am ready to reconnect with self? And is there like complete and total healing in that journey without medicinal help? And how long does it typically take someone to reach a level of self-love where they can then begin practicing one love with someone else?
It really depends on the tools that you use, you know, because ayahuasca is a very powerful, you go in deep. And for me, I always felt for a short time of pain, lifetime of gain. That's all I always thought that way. That was my mentality. So get it done, just do that 6 hours, and receive a lot of healing from that. that energy for the rest of my life. So it just depends on what the person, what their faith is, what they feel comfortable with. For me, I was like ready to go all in. I was just like ready to take that red pill and just go, but you can do it at a slow pace. You don't have to, rush anything. These are different layers that we're trying to get through. And you can work with a healer like me, to release some of those things and go within, or you can go in pretty deep. It just depends on where you're at and what level you want to get to fast enough. It took me 7 years, even with the ayahuasca, to really understand all the things that I needed to understand. It's layer by layer, and you got to be very patient.
He said this is an onion, baby. It took 7 years. And the truth of the matter is every day is still another layer or another piece and another aspect of growth. Right.
Because you have to go through these initiations and different experiences in life. It doesn't, the trials and tribulations doesn't end, but you learn how to deal with them in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
You learn how to stop blaming yourself, stop being so hard on yourself, and start trusting spirit a lot more, as you go through this journey. And it releases a lot of things that, the normal person that's not doing the healing, you can go through the same thing they're going through, and they can have a nervous breakdown about it. You can be like, oh, this is nothing. I can really trust spirit about. I've been there, done that. I've been through work. So, it just depends on where you're at on your journey, and how far you want to go, and how deep you want to go, and how fast you want to do it.
Ashe. So we're gonna take a really quick commercial break. Pay some of these bills, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about tantric sex and how to engage in tantric sex and using tantric sex in order to manifest all of the things that you are attempting to manifest now. And for those who are not daily viewers, manifestation is nothing but a prayer. So I just want to be clear that it's the same thing, different language. So while you're on your knees praying for healing, someone else is manifesting healing. And so it's science and religion that have disconnected from one another. And in this conversation, science and religion are one. And so I just wanted to be clear for those who maybe didn't understand, felt like this was a little esoteric. The truth of the matter is your religion is esoteric. You are just disconnected from the truth. And so I am Tayla Andre. Waking Up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness.
At 617-272-3387.
Finally, Home is a must-read, step-by-step guide that will equip any first-time home buyer with the knowledge they need to confidently make informed decisions. This book provides answers in simple and clear terms to most, if not all, of the questions you may have about credit, homeownership, and generational wealth. Finally, Home equips the reader with the confidence to be engaged with the home buying process without feeling vulnerable or exploited. Tayla made real estate easy.
Is it here?
It is real estate agent and
Came back for the track. No, I came back because I had to come back, but then I had my track second.
A goal to educate you on credit and teach you strategies to finding the home of your dreams. It is not just a good book or an easy read.
It's the secret to a seamless home buying experience.
Join the Dimmick Center Good Fit in the Boston Athletic Association on Saturday, September 11th for the Road to Wellness 5K walk and run. Join together with your neighbors at the Dimmick Center campus, 55 Dimmick Street, to take steps to improve your health and wellness and celebrate our community. All walkers and runners are welcome. And Spark FM Radio will be bringing the music. For more information and to register, visit roadtowellness5k.com.
Call Spark FM at 617-272-3387.
Good rising, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. I am Tayla Andre. Waking up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. Today, we are speaking with the Divine Masculine. That is his name on Instagram, and he is posting anything and everything regarding sexual healing and energy and love and good vibes and
Relationship, yes.
and he is I don't want to say therapist, but he does work with you in order to work on your healing, to work on your spiritual counseling, to work on your sexual counseling. Do you work with couples?
I have worked with couples. Not too many, but I have worked with couples before, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so on your website, you have the Tantric Healing, and there is a woman that looks like she's having an orgasm. Please help us understand what is going on and what it is that you do in Tantric Orgasmic Healing.
Yeah, tantric energy is just reconnecting to self and the feel. And it's basically, in that video I was reconnecting her back to her feminine energy, and connecting her to our authentic self and bringing her any type of energy that is suppressing the feminine at all. We want to get rid of that. So that woman was actually, she's been through a lot of healing herself, and so she's up there level wise. So she's feeling her body. She can feel her body just thinking about it. She can feel this orgasmic pleasure, and a lot of feminine can get to that power when they start releasing the things that are suppressing them. So a lot of women come to me and take that service because they want to reconnect and they want to feel again, And so that's basically what I do. And I do it all with unconditional love. I clear out all the chakras. I clear out wounds that have been there for a very long time. Any type of memories that's connected to the ego that is being replayed over and over and over again and telling this story, that that holds us back. So it's just reconnecting to that love, that divine love that is saying, we have your back. We have your back, and you can fall back on us. You can make mistakes, you can do the things that you need to do. And we will always have you. There's no place for fear. No place for fear. So that's basically what it is. It's just clearing out anything that is suppressing that feminine and allowing her to be free in her sexuality and her orgasmic pleasure. And sometimes it might not be sexual. Sometimes I get different reactions. Sometimes crying, laughter, sometimes you just feel heat. Sometimes it's intense sexual pleasure. It just depends on what that energy wants them to experience.
How does that, so are you certified in Reiki as well?
I have taken Reiki, but believe it or not, a lot of this energy was already in me.
Of course.
Already. And it was just lying dormant in the body. And a lot of us have that. A lot of gifts that we don't even use, that we don't even know was there. But when I did ayahuasca, that opened all that up. And I would say a month after that, I could feel energy coming out of my hand. And I did it with practice on my mate at the time, my girlfriend. And about a year later, I had my own business, and I was inviting people to come into the house to be worked on. So it started from there.
That is dope. That is dope. And so if you are wondering what the website is, it's linktr.ee /Divine Masculine Michael Jordan 23. And so it's Divine Masculine 23. And if you take a look at his Instagram, which is Divine Masculine 23, I've also posted him on my social media. So if you follow TaylaAndre, you can find him as well. He is If you look in my stories, the most connected you are to the feminine, the fewer limitations you'll have about sex. That particular post will take you directly to his Instagram. And so I want to ask, what are the 5 things divine masculines need from divine feminine?
Basically, the freedom to feel is a huge one. Self-love, accepting self, and discipline. Discipline to protect her. Discipline to protect that energy within. That is divine. That is from the internal realm. And when he gets all these fundamentals in place, he can pretty much achieve anything that he wants on this planet with the right intention. And going in everything in his life with the right intentions, that embodies himself, that embodies Christ, that embodies the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and just walking a path of freedom, and seeing the path in front of them, helping other people as they go, and just releasing people as they go, and helping people understand, like not forcing anything on anybody, but just putting that message out there that gives people that they feel something different and they just want to learn more. And that's the type of energy that he wants to put out there, just stepping out on faith at all times, having that courage to project and talk his truth. And teaching the man how to protect the feminine again, protect the feminine energy. That is the internal realm.
Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the 5. What are the other 4?
That's a huge part of the mission right there. But he needs, the responsibility of protection. It's a responsibility of being his own man. He's walking through this planet and being a leader and not a follower. It's going back and doing the research that he needs to do to figure out his roots and where he comes from, and just being and accepting himself, as far as loving himself, and loving the people that are around him, and accepting the people that are around him, and seeing what their journeys are, and not carrying on that anger that has been going through, generational curses, things that dad has done, grandpa has done, family things that have been affecting us for generation after generation. Looking at all those things and just clearing it all up and just going out and showing other people how to do the same.
Mm-hmm. You talk a lot about twin flames. What is a twin flame? How do you know who your twin flame is? And why do you never get to be with your twin flame?
Because it depends on what the journey implies. Like if it's supposed to be a romantic relationship, it will be that. If it's not supposed to be, it won't. And you can't really put the twin flame in a box. But what they do is open your heart up, to who you are, and they're just a reflection of that. And sometimes it's just about triggering these deep wounds that are within us to figure out, what have I been doing all these years that's been holding me back? Because in a lot of ways, for years before we even meet the twin, we're asking for answers. And that's when this twin comes out of nowhere and just shakes everything up. And sometimes we can get to a place where we feel good about self, we love self, we're taking care of self, self-care, and the twin comes right in, and you can start this beautiful relationship, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you just have this connection forever. And hopefully it can be a connection that, you can come together, at least. It's a lot of separation out there. So at least if you can come together, you have done tremendous work. To be able to talk, talk about it, things and have that support with each other. But sometimes it's not always going to be a matter. Sometimes you're just going to end up with, you might end up with a soulmate. With these modalities that I teach, you can build that energy very close to a twin flame. It just depends on your intention. Like spirituality it's not limited. You're not trapped in a box at all. So you can have whatever you want. You just have to know what you want and have that, like I said, true intention. And both of the people have to be on the same page. It's a healing process.
And that was actually going to be my next question. So it's amazing that that's what you touched on regarding why divine masculine dating women, like, I don't want to put a label on it, but dating non-spiritual women, like, and not even divine masculine or even divine feminine dating non-spiritual men or non-connected or non-healed individuals. What is so important about understanding and knowing, and I just like to throw out there, like, equally yoked. And so Christianity talks about equally yoked relationships, and when you're a kid, you're like, yeah, whatever, this penis kind of good. And then when you grow up, you're like, this equally yoked thing has a place in the world. So let's talk a little bit about that and why so many of us are engaged in relationships that were not equally yoked on a spiritual level.
Yeah, that's the first thing I learned in my awakening, or coming out of it, probably a couple of years into it, that I couldn't connect with certain people with certain energies. And I was very sensitive to energy. And I can feel things people were holding on to. And I knew if I interacted with that energy, it would get a hold of me and be inside of me in some way. And hold me back in some way that I would have to do all this work over again to get rid of it. It's not worth it. And I learned and have this spiritual maturity when you're going through this journey. People have so many things that they're holding on to. It's not funny. It's very dark stuff. Very dark stuff. So you just don't want to get to that place where you have to go back all over again and release these things or need extra help to do it. So it's best to be with someone on your level that is in that healing energy, that is on the same level as you. You see your sacred body, your sacred sexuality is a gift. And it's very powerful and you want to test it. And as you mature, you start wanting to connect with these people a lot more than someone that's not doing it. Because it does hurt you. It does hurt you if the other person doesn't know what they're doing. Especially if it's a man coming in with the wrong intention. Just wants to come in there and just beat it up and all this stuff and all these terms with that intention. It just leaves these things in the family that she has to deal with once he's up and gone.
So does this explain why after a break or after a man smashes and then keeps it moving, why there's so much chaos or drama coming from a woman?
Yeah, in a lot of ways. I would say the woman is a receiver and the man is a projector, so he's constantly projecting energy. This is why I say his intention is so important. It's very, very important to know because, like I said, whenever he goes in there with the intentions with anger, fear, hate, or got in a fight with his boy or other baby mama or whatever it is, and he comes in to release that, that's all going in that woman to deal with. So yeah, this is going to mess with her emotions. It's going to be a tug of war. It's going to be a war in there that she has to deal with on her own. And this is what a lot of our women are dealing with today. Is they don't have that freedom. I mean, there's a lot of fear there to express who they are, to have an open heart. They feel like they have to protect themselves, they have to survive. lot of energy transfer there that's not being taken care of. You know, so that's a lot of people come to me just for that energy alone, just to release other parts, other energy that has been trapped in their body. They just don't have the knowledge to get rid of it.
So we absolutely want people to come to the website. We want people to sign up for services, but we also want a free sample. What would be the first step of releasing past relationship traumas that women have been holding on to?
The first thing I would say, get help. You know, look for a tantric healer. Look for a healer in your area. If that's what you want to do, you can work with me. You know, and because we're already taught how to look at certain energies that are holding you back, like certain things in the chakras, and a lot of things get, as far as women, a lot of energies get trapped in that sacral chakra, which is the sexual chakra, and this is the womb space as well. So that's a lot of the times that's what I'm clearing out when it comes to women, you know, so they can have that open energy and feel that wholeness. You know, sometimes a lot of this energy that they want to feel, love for themselves, can't get past that sacral chakra. You know, and that's a huge problem when it comes to women because, like I said, a lot of the men stuff gets trapped in there. You know, and on top of her things, the stuff that she's dealing with as well. So I would just see a healer or someone that's more than that, and understands energy and how to clear it.
And so you guys make sure you go over to the website, the Instagram and the website, Divine Masculine 23. If you Google it, you'll be able to find it easily and quickly. And so before I get to my final personal question, you posted on your Instagram about how a man can be with a woman for 5 and 10 years and then all of a sudden meet someone new and want to marry her and it be proposed or engaged 3 months later. Can you please touch on that really quickly?
Yeah, so it just depends on what the soul is guiding him to do as the soul blueprint. And sometimes the woman that he was with before is there to teach him certain things, but not necessarily his wife, not necessarily a partner that he will be with for the rest of his life. And he would go through those trials and tribulations with her, probably release some dark things that were there that's coming up, you know, that she's triggering. He takes care of that, and then she knows the real life comes in, or whoever that may be. And he's ready for her. It's almost like that. As long as the soul blueprint is like, the soul blueprint is already picked out the woman he's supposed to be with. And you never take none of this personal. It's just the way he's guided, the way, you know, direction he's supposed to go. And it's already chosen for him. Before he even gets here on earth, it's already chosen.
And really quickly, what would you say to the woman who is just like, you know, I have multiple men that I have been with. I clearly cleared out whatever BS was there because after we broke up, he got married.
Yeah, I mean, what I feel is a reflection of yourself as well. So I think the women, if you're taking care of yourself on a spiritual level from within, it's going to reflect what's going on the outside. You know, it's going to. This is why we want to release these dark energies as well. These energies that are connected to the flesh, because this is the reflections that we want to see in the world is really who we are from within. You know, so this is us connecting to ourselves, getting to that place, and if you get to that step of us and you're loving yourself and you're having fun and you're connected to joy every single day, you're taking care of yourself on a day-to-day basis on those fundamentals to keep yourself clear, you know, and connected to the divine and trusting, you're going to meet that person. You're going to meet that person, and it's going to be better than you imagine. Trust me. You know, it just takes trust and just be patient with yourself on your journey.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so I would like to close out with a personal question. I am wondering what it is that from this interaction you've perceived of me as far as like whatever, healing, non-healing, what needs to be worked on, like anything that you perceive. I selfishly want to know what you see.
Oh man, I was so focused on the interview. I mean, what popped up to me with you is your base chakra is talking to me the whole time. Maybe some worry about things, trying to make things happen. I know you have a business going on, so sometimes it might cause a little bit of stress. And the divine just wants you to know that God, your back, you don't have to worry. Just do what you need to do. Step in courage, step in faith, and everything will work out just fine when you follow your heart. It will always guide you in the right direction.
And you said it was my heart chakra that was talking to you?
I'm feeling it's more your base chakra. It's the bottom. It's connected to survival.
My root chakra?
The root chakra.
Mm.
I've been choking. Your red has been like screaming at me the whole time. Like, yeah. So it's just. I think it's just the business that you're in. And sometimes, like when we're in our own business, certain things happen and kind of can stress us out when we're doing things on our own. And it's not a 9 to 5. But that was the message that I got. That it's all connected to your heart. And if you follow that heart, follow your joy, whatever you want to do, everything will always work out. It will always work out.
As it always does.
In the right direction every time.
It always works out. I thank you for your time. I appreciate you. I am following your journey as well and would like to continue to follow your journey. I'm not quite sure if this is an actual call or if this is something else. Good rising, caller, you live. Yeah, no. And so I thank you for your time. Again, the Divine Masculine 23. Just remember it as Jordan. And so Divine Masculine 23, the website, the Instagram, you can follow him. And it is a journey. I want to say that I began my journey well over 14, 15 years ago. I'm still on this journey. I am still learning. I am still growing. I am still healing. There's things that pop up. And you guys know, as far as like this being therapy for me, it's absolutely informative and amazing, but it's also therapy. And so there have been so many times within this last year alone that the conversations that we've had ended up in something bubbling to the surface and me going home and literally crying about it and releasing it. And so do not think, I want to reiterate what Shamari said regarding like, be patient with yourself. And so you may see on social media, people presenting their best self and showing you all of this cool things that they're doing and their happiness and their joy. But I want you to remember show me a point in time when you were at your lowest and nobody knew it. And every single last one of those videos, people are dancing and laughing and singing, but yet they're telling you at that point, I was at my lowest. So don't think for 5 seconds that you looking at everybody else's social media and seeing their happiness and seeing their joy and wondering when yours is coming, because it's already here. You just really have to take every moment of every day and appreciate it for what it is and stop looking for something else that really is truly not outside of you. And so, Shamari, again, I want to thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. I am Tayla Andre. Waking Up with Tayla Andre has absolutely nothing to do with the time of day we link up, but about waking up your third eye with unorthodox conversations leading to universal consciousness. Thank you, Shamari. Oh, and if you didn't know, the commercial is me. I wrote the book, Finally Home, the step-by-step guide for people preparing for first-time homeownership. So I don't know your situation, but California rent look like Boston rent. So if you're in need, I can definitely send you a book. Just inbox me your information and I'll get that out to you today. All right. Have a wonderful day, you guys. We will be back tomorrow with some Freaky Friday. I wish we would have scheduled this on Friday so we could talk about sex a little bit more, but that's fine. We'll extend today's conversation into tomorrow. And so Freaky Friday will be based on your healing energies having sex. And so I hope you guys have an amazing day. Enjoy it. Check on your loved ones and make sure you drink plenty of water and mind your own damn business. Okay? Mwah.